This is, hey folks, this is Alex San Vicente with Conservative Hispanic MAGA Radio, just bringing you a report here on consumer confidence among Hispanic people. I want to kind of run through this and explain to all the people out there that are non-Hispanic, why has Hispanic consumer confidence skyrocketed in the last few months, even before the election? From the website ZeroHedge.com, we see a graph here coming to us from Bloomberg telling us that the consumer confidence index for Hispanics has gone from 32 points all the way to 41 points. Black consumer confidence has also risen from a low of 30, let's call it 32, to a high of, let's say, 44. Now, a little bit after the election, it took a small dip to 44.4. White consumer confidence has stayed pretty much stable. But let's get to Hispanic consumer confidence. Why has Hispanic consumer confidence skyrocketed in the last few months since Donald Trump has been elected? And even before that, when Hillary was supposed to win. Hispanic people understand that as the border starts to get sealed, the economy is going to improve. Now, as much they hate to admit it, or I should say they understand that the economy is going to improve because if there's less workers doing jobs that Hispanics used to do before at lower slave wages, the people that are going to be left to do those jobs are going to be nationalized citizens of the United States. So what the Democrats and the libtards don't like to explain to you is that illegals coming over here don't just come over here because they want to get high-paying jobs. They take the lowest-paying jobs. They take the lowest-paying jobs because that's all they can find. They become second-class citizens, which to the libtards and the Democrats, that suits them right. Now, Democrats and libtards like to act like they're social justice warriors on their high horse, but they don't send their children, their white children, their vanilla children, even if you are an integrated Hispanic, you don't send your children to schools in the inner cities with all the other Hispanics. You don't send your children to the inner city schools with all the other black people. No, you send them to the best schools outside of the ghettos. You talk a big talk about being integrated, but the truth of the matter is, when it comes to where you send your children to school, you don't send them to school in the ghettos. And I think what Hispanic people realize that you don't want to admit is that Hispanic illegal immigrants are taking your jobs. People like to always talk about who's going to pick the lettuce and who's going to mow the lawn. Well, let me tell you, who used to do it before? Who used to do it before when we started bringing slave labor in from Mexico and Central America, having 11-year-old boys and girls pick strawberries just so that you can have cheaper fruit? To me, that's racist, and that's the narrative that the social justice warriors don't want you to see. They don't want you to see that illegals coming over here suck the economy from the labor force, that there is rampant fraud in the entitlement system, that anybody can go to school here without having to pay their fair share of taxes. Now, I know that there's reports that say that illegal immigrants actually pay a big portion of tax, but how would you know? How do you know? You don't, because they're illegal. They're undocumented. They're in the shadows. They can't get bank accounts. They can't get driver's license. They can't get medical, but somehow they do. with fake Social Security cards, sanctuary cities. They got it all worked out, folks. They've been doing it for a long time, and then they send all their money that they make back to Mexico. And I feel bad for their families back in Mexico because they need the money. But they don't spend it here. The United States is getting screwed, and they've been getting screwed for a long time. So I think the Hispanic people understand that as the Trump administration starts to clamp down on illegal immigration, people are going to start seeing that the labor pool is going to increase, and that's going to improve the economy. Also, they do send money back to Mexico. They understand the Mexican economy, and they understand, and they probably are baffled. Why would the United States make a washing machine 10 feet over the border with Mexican workers, ship that washing machine 10 feet back over the border, and not get charged a tariff for that? They don't Mexico collects all of the benefit. The United States collects none of the benefit. Where we buy that washing machine, but Americans didn't make that washing machine. The profits all go back to Mexico. Everybody that comes here illegally sends their money back to Mexico. Where do we win in this situation? Where do we win? And I think Hispanic people that are here illegally understand that. And the Hispanic people that are here legally understand that. Look, I don't care what you want to say. If you're Hispanic, you know somebody in your family or in your circle of friends that has come into this country illegally. You may not know them directly, but you know somebody in your family or your circle of influence that has come in here illegally. And they had their reasons. I'm one of them. I'm not going to go turn that person in, let the government handle it. But I know good people, and that's, I think, what Donald Trump says, good people, they mean well, but that's not the point. You can't come into this country illegally. It needs to stop. It needs to stop, and more Hispanic people need to speak up for these people because they're being treated like slaves. Slave labor wages. They're constantly getting ripped off. They don't get paid sometimes. They work 40 hours a week and they're supposed to get paid for 40 hours. But because their production level's down in the strawberry fields, they might only get paid for 30 hours. Who are they going to complain to? The labor board? If a factory in Ohio hires illegal aliens and they decide that they're just not going to pay their employees 1 week, or maybe like half of them or a third or even a quarter, who are they going to complain to? Nobody. And there's so many people that are waiting for those jobs that they just turn around and let those people go, shortchanging their paychecks, sending them packing. And who are they going to complain to? When they're crossing the border and a coyote screws them over or charges them a tax or tells them that they owe a debt and that they have to pay it off while they're here. Did you know that in order for you to cross over, if you have no money, that you have to give a reference? And you know what that reference is? It's a family member. It's not like a bank reference. When you go in to get a loan, you give a reference like a family member, like your parents or a brother or a sister. When you're dealing with these people, you give a reference for your life and their life. They have a saying, the debt never dies. And it's true. You may die, but the debt never dies. So that reference picks up that debt. And if they can't pay, then somebody else pays. And it just keeps going down the line. And they don't care how many people they have to murder. It keeps going down the line until that debt is paid off. And I think that's what people don't understand. It's a really, really sick world. You go to Starbucks, you get your coffee, You laugh with the lady at the counter. You get in your SUV, you drive home, you listen to the radio, you listen to some disgusting comments that Trump makes, and you're disgusted. Oh, that's so disgusting. I can't believe he said that. How could he disrespect women like that? But you don't understand the level of scumminess that these people will go through to tear down somebody, because they know it's going to affect their well-being. It's going to affect their money. It's going to take away food from their table. And they understand that a person like this understands them more than they understand themselves. And they understand that a person like this, like a Donald Trump, when he says he's draining the swamp, he's not lying. He means to drain the swamp, and he's already doing it. A lot of Hispanics voted for Donald Trump. There is a percentage in America of whites, blacks, and Hispanics. And these are the voting population. These are the people that have been voting for the last 30, 40 years. So for you to say that he didn't get 100% of the Hispanic vote, there was never 100% of the Hispanic vote. There was never 100%. How can you get 100% of something that doesn't exist? You can only get 100% of what exists. And Donald Trump got 100% of the Republican Hispanic vote. Blacks didn't vote for Donald Trump because blacks don't vote for Republicans. They never have, and they never will. I don't understand why. It's the Democratic Party that's been giving you these ghettos and the inner cities. It's the Democratic Party that's been putting you in poverty all these years. It's the Democratic Party that opens the borders so that Hispanics can come in here illegally, and so your tias and tios can't come in here legally. They wait in line for years, and because of illegal immigration, it takes forever to process paperwork because resources are tasked in other places. So I'm Alex San Vicente with Hispanic Conservative MAGA Radio. You guys have yourself a good night.